Now this is Bangalore, right? So you don't know where road is on what day. Like every morning you wake up and you realize there's a road. Or there is no road. And you plan your day accordingly. Like if my HR asks me, are you working from home? I'm like, subah bata sakti hu. I will dress up, I will open door, I will get out, I'm like, sorry. Give it up for Shri Rupa. Thanks for showing up, everyone. This is a little bit of an awkward room for me. 1 second. Thoda Draupadi wala scene ho raha hai. 1 second. Yes. Okay. Bit of an awkward room for me because I see many familiar faces, which means two things. One, I cannot lie. Shit. And two, you will probably know who I'm talking about. And tell them. No? Okay, thanks. Thank you very much. We should have, along with the consent for video, we should have also taken a consent for NDA. Okay, so now that we have addressed that, I want to address the second thing, that is, at this ripe old age of 38, running on 39, I now have pimples. The first time ever in my life, and I have no idea what to do about them. So now I've started naming my pimples. Today, I'm here with Janice. Janice is on my face. That sounds dirtier than it was. I promised a clean show. I know. Okay. So the show is called Family's Trees, and the reason why we wrote it was because we wanted to write it about the women in our lives, in our families, and of course the men who love them. And when I started writing the show, the first thing I realized is that I don't qualify as any of them. Because the women in my life are crisis handlers, you know. They are so cool as a cucumber under crisis. They handle crisis with WhatsApp notes. I know why I'm looking at you, but yeah, they have Excel sheets for crisis. Okay, which they hand down to other women through generations. Me, no. I took a friend of mine to the hospital because she was wheezing and she was having a respiratory issue. And, you know, the nurse wanted to give her an IV shot, an intravenous shot. And she poked the needle. And some blood came out. I fainted. I was on the floor. When when I came to my senses and the doctor was holding my hand very romantically, it wasn't. He was just afraid of a lawsuit. I was like, I am so sorry. The friend who was wheezing was sitting next to me wearing a nebulizer. I am that bad at handling crisis. You know, they're peacemakers. Women in my life are peacemakers, you know. Again, I know who I'm looking at. And they're beautiful peacemakers. They listen to you. They'll understand. They do solution finding, which is very different from the men in my life. Like for women, when they're when they're trying to, figure out solutions to problems, there's a full research which happens. There's secondary desk research, ask the neighbors, there's a focus group discussion. There is data, so much of data, right? And then they find the solution. I am like, you have to empty the dustbin? Sure, empty it into another dustbin. Dustbin is empty. That way I take after my father. My mom told my dad a few years back that they should clean up the house, okay? And the reason why this was important was because we had a lot of files which were there for a very long time, and they had to clean up the house. My father decided that the best way to clean up the files is by throwing the files away. So now every time I have to go to my doctor, I behave like this is the first time I have come to my senses and realized I have a body. So she will ask me, what is your blood group? I'm like, blood has groups? Now you know. And when I kind of like told my dad, that dad, why would you do this? He's like, no, you should look forward and never backward. I was like, at least tell me you have my birth certificate. Because that was way backward. That was very long back. I turn 40 next year in 2027, which means that this is the last year of my 30s. And it is a lot of fun because I've realized that while men have roles in families, women have portfolios. And both of them are driven by two different things, right? Like men are driven by a praise kink. It's not as sexy as it sounds. Get your mind out of the gutter. I'll give you a second. Yes, I'm looking at you, babe. Like they have a praise kink. Like they're like, if they do something for you and you have to say it was very nicely done, thank you, you thought of it. I didn't think you could think of it. I didn't think you could think at all. I am glad you thought of it. It was so beautifully done. Oh my God, you should do it again. I realized this because that's my mom's strategy to get my dad to cook. It's amazing. Yeah, you're going to use it, right? For sure use it. He boils an egg. My mother this is beautifully boiled egg. This is egg which was never boiled in this manner. The beauty of this egg, look at how translucent the shell is. And I'm just sitting there going, but what? And whereas women want validation, it's like validation for their inner observations. Like, am I overthinking? No, you're not. You're not overthinking. Did I overreact? No, you did not overreact. But why? Yes, even we don't know why there's a towel in the commode. Don't ask me how it got there, even I don't know. I'm just telling you it was there. And at this point of time, you have these different kinds of women in different archetypes trying to be the best family tree, right? Which is amazing. So they're trying to do everything, especially in my life, the women around me. They are trying to make kombucha for some reason. They're trying to make tofu. They're trying to figure out what to do with soy milk. All of that. The entire thing end to end. There's an entire farmhouse operation which is going on. And I look at them and I'm like, I will never be there because I'm somebody who drinks tender coconut out of a sealed bottle. Like you give me a tender coconut. I don't know how to break a coconut. Like my coconut breaking episode is something which is known to a lot of friends and family. And some of you already know this over here. I'll tell you. I bought a coconut. This was a couple of years back. So you can understand this. I did not repeat this ever again in my life. I took the coconut. I figured out how to break it. I realized that I don't know how to break it. Then I went on YouTube. And I started looking at white people videos of breaking coconut. So apparently, when they try to break coconut, they suggested using a screwdriver. Yes, be with me. Stay with me on this. So apparently you take the coconut and then you poke the three eyes of the coconut and you drain the water. I did that. Yes, don't judge me. I can see the judgment on your face. I know you too well, babe. Okay, then you have to take a hammer. So then I went to my toolbox. Because like any self-respecting woman who lives alone, I have all the tools, including the stuff that I don't know how to use. Because at some point I might need it. Maybe for self-defense, but anyway. So then I went to the toolbox and I realized I don't have a hammer. What the hell? But I do have a pipe wrench. Because towels sometimes land up in the commode. So I took the pipe wrench. And then apparently you're supposed to tap around the diameter of the coconut. I like how she's like nodding so beautifully, like I am taking notes. I can relate. Don't try this at home. It's only for white people and professionals. Okay, so then you're supposed to tap gently around the diameter of the coconut. And then you're supposed to hit it on the ground and it's supposed to break. I did the gentle tapping. Remember, I don't have a hammer. So I'm using a pipe wrench. So I do that. I hit it on the ground. Nothing happens. The coconut is perfectly fine. I hit it harder. My tile breaks. Coconut is still fine. Then I go to the balcony. And I think that if I drop the coconut from the top, Then I realized that my apartment complex would not appreciate that. So I come back in. So then I take a stool, like something like this, and I get up on it, holding the coconut. And then I threw it on the floor. And then it broke. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, thank you. These applauses are important for my self-esteem because I still don't know how to break a coconut. But I will never get that level of appreciation from my mother like my father got on the egg. Like, my mom's not going to come and tell me that, wow, what level of scientific inquiry. This is amazing that you were able to finally break the coconut through trial and error. This is how leaders are born. No? She was like, how did the tile break? And I was like, there was a coconut. Yeah, going well. Things are changing. I think I have a theory. I think one of the reasons why more and more men are taking on roles which were traditionally women-oriented in the household is because they have also now realized that their praise king needs to go into validation territory. It is amazing. Because my father felt so loved and appreciated with the boiled egg, that now he's taken on 100% cooking duties in the house. You know how in some families they pray before dinner? We validate him. But it's lovely because he's now. So you know how a lot of senior citizens, I don't know how many of you have senior citizens in your life. Give me a cheer. Woo! Okay, I hope you all are not talking about me. Just making sure. So with senior citizens in your life, what they essentially tend to do is they become very addicted to the screens, right? And I know that I'm talking about them like kids, but it's a real problem. They are always on their phone or their laptop or their tab. Like in my house, in the evening, you have the TV on, the tab on, the laptop on, and the phone on, all four, full volume. Like I went and bought loop earphones. You know the stuff that they sell you on Instagram about noise cancellation and about hypersensitivity to the noise? And the salesman was like, ma'am, will you please fill this form and tell us what kind of noise you're trying to cancel? I was like, my family. So this gentleman has now been researching how to cook. And it is amazing because every time I try to boil water, he tries to tell me which angle the patila should be on the gas. He takes great joy in trying to tell me how paneer has to be washed. And I'm like, why are we washing paneer? At what point did we decide that after processing food, we have to process it further? Like, I get it, I get the logic, but he's like, no, then it'll stay soft. I'm like, that anything softer, I will sleep on it. He's having a very, very experiential journey in his life right now. The problem is that we are also on the same experiential journey as him because we have only one kitchen. And at this point of time, I want to tell all Bangalore landlords that you have to have additional kitchens. You give me, it's okay, you give me two bedrooms, one bathroom, it's fine, 2 kitchen. You had 2 bathrooms, convert one to a kitchen. Because there's no other way to survive. I have stopped telling my parents now at what time I'll go out. Because if I tell them I'm going out at 7 a.m., for 4 o'clock I can hear kitchen. Because food is not just cooked nowadays, it is also plated. Have you ever had beetroot and radish sauce in the morning? Nowadays, I take my father's phone away and do the same thing that he used to do to me when I was a teenager. I block profiles of chefs. I go through his entire phone, I see what he has saved, and I delete them. And I think this exchange is beautiful because now with more and more men wanting this validation, they are also appreciating women a lot more. But the problem is that at this point of time, we don't want to sit down and talk about our feelings. We have passed that stage. And it is even more uncomfortable when your father comes and sits in front of you and goes like, so, how was your day? And I was like, at what point? And what should I censor? But I'm better off because I'm an elder millennial, which means that I was able to be on social media and make all the mistakes possible on social media before they came on social media. Yeah. So once my parents came on social media, the first thing that I did was ensure that they don't see what I am posting. That's the first thing I did. Okay? However, my aunts and uncles, I welcome them with open arms. Because I love aunts and uncles on social media. They are your best hype club. Every photo, right? With a heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything. Nice big beta. Right? If it's Deepavali month, you will have a diya on all their comments. It's adorable. I love it. What I didn't realize is that my other elder millennial cousins had applied the same strategy. So now, our parents talk to each other about what is there on their kids' social media. Can you imagine the meta level of communication which is going on over here? And then very sadly, one uncle will say, I don't know, he has not, he's not on my Facebook. It's okay, I will send you screenshot. I was like, how do you know about screenshot? How do you know about screenshot? And in the middle of all of this, what I love watching is the intergenerational issues, right? Now, as elder millennials, we have done this. The next generation of my cousins are millennials. They are the ones with a more polite type of millennials. You know, the ones who are like constantly in host mode. We are the ones who are literally like, haan, dekh lenge, and we would just walk off. They are the ones who are like, no, you sit. Tell me about your feelings. It's that generation. Now, this generation, out of guilt, have kept their parents on their social media. And I love it. Because the questions that many of them are fielding are stuff like, where did you go? When did you go there? Who went with you? Is that own property or rented? How many square feet was the coffee shop? And they're just still trying to just make like, they're just trying to make connection, build connection, which is beautiful. And then you have these set of parents who on the comments are like, looking nice, need to lose 5 kgs. Or they will call the kid. I saw the photo. Photo ta dekhlam. I saw the photo. From that angle, you look thin only. But actually, you're a little fat, no? Chubby? Then you have the Gen Z, okay, who don't care. They don't care who is on their social media, who is watching, not watching. They'll take a bloody photo of the floor and be like, yeah. Just, yeah. It's not even a yeah. I'm like, and then their parents call me. They're like, see, just give a bloody photo of floor. What do you think it means? I'm like, why are you asking me that? So then they're like, you're that age group only. I was like, no. Do not dare bring me in there. And then sometimes they will have IDs, okay, which are genuinely terrifying. Sad potato 97. I'm like, why are you sad potato 97? Because your parent will call me and ask me, is Tushi sad? Does Tushi feel like a potato? Tushi was born in 97. I'm like, and then toxic but nice. I'm like, you will go to jail. Come back. Do not perceive me. That's a handle. Do not perceive. What? And do you realize how much stress this is on the women in those families? Because now they are getting asked about things. And this is another thing that I don't understand about being a family tree, being a woman in the family. Why is it that people come and ask us the most effing weird questions? You wake up in the morning, where is the mustard? I did not go to sleep hiding it under my pillow. I am not such an addict that I will wake up in the middle of the night and sniff mustard, like cocaine. Why in the morning shall I have to tell you where is the mustard? You want to go drop somebody off, sometimes we end up having to drop people, right? Like for example, I've been on driving duty for my family, been the designated driver for a few years now, which is not going well, but I will tell you more about it later. But if you're going to drop someone, right? Oh, you dropped them and came. I'm like, wasn't I supposed to? What kind of an escort service is this? No, I was just asking. So when will you pick them up? I was like, I don't know, I just had dropping duty. But you should have asked, no. Why? And then the best question. Do we have capsicum? I'm like, it's not like I'm harvesting. That I can tell you that yes, there is a capsicum on the tree. Third branch, please take it out. And as like happened to you, Hannah, see? See? Give yourselves a round of applause on this side. What the hell? So I was telling you that I've been on designated driving duty, right? For a while now. And it's not going very well. Because, I'm a decent driver. I follow Google Maps like it's my religion. The Google Map says left, I'm like, I look at a house and I'm like, I'm coming here for lunch. You know, I have confused the cops of Bangalore. I have a feeling they have my car number and my photograph in their file. Because I've confused them so much. Because they have stopped me at that, the junction between Hebbal to Jakkur, where you take that right. So sometimes they put a divider over there. Now this is Bangalore, right? So you don't know where road is on what day. Like every morning you wake up and you realize there's a road. Or there is no road. And you plan your day accordingly. Like if my HR asks me, are you working from home? I'm like, subah bata sakte. I will dress up, I will open door, I will get out. I'm like, sorry. That's how I'm running my life right now. Okay, so the cop stopped me saying that, ma'am, where are you going? And I looked at him with a very beatific smile and I was like, home. Now, of course, I'm not the first person he's meeting, unfortunately, right? So he literally was like, yes, madam. But where? Then I was like, so then he puts his head into the window, probably praying for his life. And then I show him the card display. I have to go straight, then take right, then left. I don't know why it's telling me that left. That is not my route. But I will take that left. And then right, and then I will go. In the toll plaza, there have been times when I've gone and... Because Google Maps have taken me to the toll. Because they were like, today, you're not doing anything in life anyway. We will go for long drive. Not me, Google Map. So I have stopped at toll. The toll guy has asked me, for what do you need the ticket? I said, I don't know. He's like, where are you going? Home. You might be wondering why I'm doing a show in Kodmangla when I stay in Hennur. Google Maps, guys. Even while going back, I'm sure I'll be stopped by some cop somewhere. They'll be like, where are you going? Home. Anyway, so as you can, I'm a responsible driver. Like, I am the car in front of whom all the Ajis cross the road. They go, I'm also nodding at them. Like, I stand in traffic and I talk to people. I'm like, so what do you do? And they are like, are you a car insurance salesperson? And I'm like, no, but I can be. On that very creepy note, we'll move on from this bit. So me and my parents and I, we were out shopping for pants. don't smirk like that. Everybody wears pants. All of you are wearing pants. Shady people. So we were out shopping for pants and we went to this place called Kamanahalli. All of you know Kamanahalli? Yeah. And I was in a very good mood because there was road and there was parking. And this is Bangalore. So the day you get road and parking, your day is made. That is what you want to do in life. That's it. That is the day you want to drive everywhere. Like I called up my laundry guy and said, "Aaj aana hai kya?" And they're like, "But ma'am, you have not even given clothes." It's okay, I will come meet you. You wondered how I landed up at your house? There was road and parking. That is what I do. Like I will be like, the day there is road and parking, that is the Shubh day, the Shubh Muhurat. There's no panditji required. In Bangalore, that's your grade. So we went and I went, my father as the man of the house, poor guy, only man of the house. That's for another set. But anyway, he was like, today I will teach you how to reverse park. Now, this is one thing I didn't tell you about myself and my driving, is that I do not know how to reverse park. I can go straight. So anywhere there is a straight road, I will go. But if you tell me to take reverse, I am not there. You will not reach your destination. Or you will reach your destination next day. Because you will go straight, come back here only. You get it? Huh. So my father was like, today I will teach you. So he got down of the car, adjusted his pants. The one he was wearing. Not the one that we bought. And then he was like, first he tried to give me verbal instructions. It did not work. Then he tried geometry. Did not work. Then he started doing some Tai Chi movements. So he's like, this. I said, okay. And I drove off. So at the back, my mom is sitting and my mother is like, I just think, it's just my opinion, that he probably wanted you to, go a little forward and then not. I was like, but now you're here. So we went, took one nice U-turn, came back, and I see my father standing in that parking spot. Holding that spot for me. Like a white Hindustan ambassador. Like full embodiment of the car and parking spot. And he's like, what are you doing? So I took my window down. The other window, not the cop-wala window, the other side. Took the window down. And I was like, Dad, always in life, no? You should go forward. And never backward. Fun times. As you can see, I'm aging terribly, which is why now I'm looking at notes. So I've been up nights reading about how to get rid of my dark circles, and therefore getting dark circles. Okay, so this is my favorite hobby at the moment. So I'm just focused on how do I get rid of my dark circles. And while doing that, and I want you all to know this disclaimer, 3 a.m. in the morning, you should not do online shopping. Okay? Because this is what I did. I started buying furnishings and furniture. Yes, I know. I like what she was like, what? Yeah. I had the same expression in the morning when I woke up. This is worse than being drunk and taking drunk decisions, because you can't even say you were drunk. Just sleep deprived. So somewhere I read that to get rid of dark circles, your room must be fully dark while you're sleeping. So I said I must get blackout curtains. So I got blackout curtains. Now blackout curtains where if you buy 2, you get 1 free. But I don't have that many windows in my room. But I bought. So now there is 1 curtain which is on a wall. Then I continued my research. And for some odd reason, while looking at furniture, I ended up at a coffin store. Coffin store, Shaba. Coffin store. Yes, coffins. Very beautiful coffins. Don't pull back at this point. I like how he's like just wiping his face, going, I do not know where I've come today. I'm sorry, sir. So I found a coffin store, and they're very nice, tall coffins. Looked comfortable. Also dark. So I bought a coffin. Yes. Yes. It's a nice one. I want to do. But then by 4:30, I was like, did I just buy a coffin? So then I emailed them. And the person's name was John and Peter, of course. So I said, Dear John and Peter, I regret to inform you that I no longer need the coffin. Regards, Sri Rupa Sengup. Because I thought I should say regards after such an email. And John and Peter called me at 5 o'clock in the morning. Madam. I'm like, yes. You don't need the coffin. I'm like, no, sir. Oh. Now, John and Peter are very polite, so they can't ask why I don't need the coffin after buying the coffin. So they were like, but we can't cancel coffin orders. I was like, oh. Meanwhile, my father has started cooking because it's 4:30. I had to leave at 7. So I was like, now I can't even talk about this loudly and explain to John and Peter what happened because it's not like my walls are soundproof. And I don't want my parents to know what I've been up to at night. This is a very different problem when you edge towards your 40s and when you're in your 20s. 20s, you don't want your parents to know what you've been up to at night for a different reason. In your 40s, it can be anything. So I was like, okay. So, okay, you send. Okay, madam, we will send it to you by 7 o'clock. I was like, shh. So I come out of my room. My father is cooking a 5-course meal for breakfast. My mother is just around dusting because she likes keeping things clean. And also she has to like clean up after my dad. Cleaning has not yet become his core skill. We are getting there. So then, at this point, I'm trying to tell them what can I tell them. So I was like, I bought some furniture. My mother is like, okay. It is velvet lined. It is dark brown and the inside is red and maroon. My mother is like, inside. I'm like, yes, I will take a break. I will go for a bath. I will come back later. Sharp at the time of delivery, 2 lanky individuals come with a 6-foot coffin. Now you have to understand this. Whenever there is furniture delivery, and I don't know if you all have noticed it, the heavier the furniture, the thinner the people who come to deliver. I'm like, how is surface area tension working? How are you doing this? So the 2 of them come with the coffin. Now, at this point, my father has finished his cooking duty, and he's now back to his devices. And the newspaper has also come that day, because that depends on the mood of the newspaper guy, whether you get the newspaper or not. The newspaper has also come, he's happy, he's looking at the newspaper. The room is entirely dark because of the blackout curtains, including on the wall. Fully dark room. The 2 gentlemen walk in. And then they lay the coffin down. My father is still behind the newspaper. Then they are asking me, do you want the coffin like this or like this? I saw it down. I looked at my dad behind the newspaper. He's not seen it yet. I saw my mother from that side, wiping a doorknob. I was like, put it like this. They put the coffin like that. And then while going back, they're like, we are very sorry for your loss, madam. And then my father, who died? Still behind the newspaper. And then, right before they close the door, they're like, madam, tips. I'm like, no, just leave. My only tip right now is that you should not shop at 30. They left. After a while, my mother arrives. At this point, my father has still not noticed it, okay? My mother arrives, she's like, huh, this will make a nice mop cupboard. So that's about family trees. It's like we'll always find ways to make use of things. That amazing coffin / mop cupboard is in the bathroom, ladies and gentlemen. So every time I'm taking a bath, I'm like, I don't know whether to say a prayer. But that's what's going on. Did you have fun? Yeah. Was this a good set? Can you give yourselves a round of applause? Yeah?